Howdy folks, welcome back to my YouTube. I am your host, the Mighty Bjorn, and today for you I have another Skies of Ace Combat video. Going to be talking a bit about the Darkstar today. Now, I wasn't going to talk about any of the fictitious planes that is in Ace Combat, but this one I was going to make an exception for, as there was actually a mock-up made for this plane for the movie Top Gun Maverick. So this plane is actually part of the Top Gun Maverick DLC for Ace Combat 7, and there's actually some pretty interesting information I did actually find out about the plane, the concepts, and even the scenes that it was involved in. So yeah, let's kind of go over it here. The Darkstar is actually based on concepts of the SR-72, which is actually supposed to be a high-speed drone that Lockheed Martin is working on. It's actually part of their Skunk Works, which is like their secret squirrel division of Lockheed Martin. They work on the really cool planes. And as you can see here, it's actually got engines very similar to the Darkstar model that would be featured in Top Gun Maverick. Now, there is some things here I could point out about there's some kind of concepts and shaping and etc. That I feel like they took from the SR-71 Blackbird. So I thought that was very cool. And once again, Lockheed Martin actually did build the SR-71 Blackbird. That was actually a Skunk Works, secret squirrel plane that was produced many, many moons ago, and actually has since then been retired, which is why apparently they're working on an SR-72. It's kind of a project that they're working on, but it's not like a priority type project from what I can tell. I'm not going to get too much into the SR-72. I want to focus more on the Darkstar here. Now, the scene with the Darkstar in Top Gun Maverick was actually to pay homage to Chuck Yeager. And as you can see here, he actually is wearing a flight suit. Well, Maverick wears a flight suit sort of similar to what Chuck Yeager wore when he broke the sound barrier in the YF-104. He was actually one of the test pilots for the F-104 program for Lockheed Martin, and he actually had broke the sound barrier. He went, I believe it was Mach 1.6. So that was actually interesting to find out as well. Now, unfortunately for Chuck Yeager, he would actually end up crashing his plane, losing control and crashing the plane. He did survive the crash, but yeah, the plane got trashed. Now, in the movie, the Darkstar achieved Mach 10.3 before losing power, and it would actually end up crashing as well. Now, the plane actually has two engine modes. It's actually kind of got like the engine has like kind of like a normal mode, and then it's supposed to have scramjets, which the scramjets are supposed to get the plane to supersonic. That's what gets the plane up to Mach 10. It was supposed to only get to Mach 10, but, Maverick being Maverick, he decided to push the plane a little further, and, well, he ended up breaking the plane too. Now, the real Darkstar, the mock-up, was actually designed and built by Lockheed Martin. And this is actually a picture of the mock-up actually at Lockheed Martin. So I thought that was actually a cool, nice little find to actually find the photo of the real mock-up plane. So you can actually kind of see here, it is kind of a big plane. Those engines are actually pretty big. But it does give the plane a more realistic feel, even though it is a fictitious plane. Now, looking up some information, and I don't know how true this is. This is something that Lockheed Martin is actually claiming. I'm not sure who gave them this information, if it was from the government or whatever. But apparently, a Chinese spy satellite actually redirected and was scoping out Lockheed Martin's yard when they rolled this plane out of the build facility. So I actually found that really interesting, that they were like, hey, what's this over here? Now, one thing I do want to point out about the Ace Combat model. There is an inconsistency with the Ace Combat model versus the real Darkstar, and you could actually kind of see it there. And oops, you can't really see it here, but so this is the cockpit view, and I tried to get one actually of the window, and I really couldn't. But so that center cutout there, that is a window in the direct front of the cockpit, that is not there. All you have are those two side windows to look out of on the actual Darkstar mock-up and design that they had done. Now, when it comes to armaments, there's no indication that this plane is armed at all in Top Gun Maverick. That being said, it was just a test plane, so maybe it could have had armaments. Maybe it wasn't supposed to have armaments. I don't really know. I don't recall the SR-71 being an armed plane. I actually believe it was unarmed. So in theory, if per se this was supposed to be a quote-unquote replacement for the SR-71, or a, like this is supposed to be the test plane for the new SR-72 or whatever in Top Gun Maverick universe, if you will, it may have actually not been an armed plane. Now, of course, in Ace Combat 7, it is an armed plane, and it is a very fast plane. I believe it might be the fastest. Now, I do have this spec'd out for acceleration and speed. Like, essentially, if it gave me speed, I put it on there. And the max speed I was able to get it to was 6,711 kmh. I have this in the metric system, which translates as 4,170 miles per hour for my American audience. And I looked it up. Mach 10 is 7,673 miles per hour, which is actually 12,348 kmh. So I was not able to achieve Mach 10. I went a little bit above the middle. So probably, basically, I went up above Mach 5 is basically the fastest I could get this plane to go. So, you know, there it is. That's pretty much the Darkstar plane. I think it is pretty cool that it is here in Ace Combat 7 as part of the Top Gun Maverick DLC. I'm just not sure how feasible this plane is. I haven't really played it much myself. I pretty much did a free flight with it to check it out, see how fast it could go. But really, this is kind of like a boom and zoom plane. You know, you fly in, you hit a couple targets, and you just bugger off as fast as you can. Because when it comes to maneuverability and etc. in Ace Combat 7, this plane is very unmaneuverable. But it is also really, really fast. But I just kind of wonder how feasible that kind of tactic would be in Ace Combat 7, because of generally how Ace Combat 7 plays. But it's still, I think it's still pretty cool that it's here. It's a nice little touch up with the Top Gun Maverick DLC, which gives us like 5 planes. Yeah, I believe it's 5 planes to fly. And this is one of those said planes. And it was kind of cool just to sit here and like talk about the plane and actually look into the information about the plane and find out that it was actually really built for the movie. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got for you, folks. Hopefully you all enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for tuning in, learning about the actual Darkstar and kind of its role of what it's supposed to be, and a little bit about everything that it comes to when it comes to Top Gun Maverick, what the plane's role was, and etc. Anyway, folks, thanks again for tuning in, and have yourself a wonderful day.